like contraband, man. Strictly for the trenches, you dig what I'm saying? I turn nothing in the sun. Count them bands, you hear me? Cause we really had to suffer to survive. You know, all types of shit. Trap, jail, music, bitches, beef. Feel me? And I'm strong, like I'm the heartbeat. Without me, ain't no survival. Like the trenches can't breathe. Where I'm from. So I figure I gotta take action before a nigga take me out. You know, it's a dirty game, you hear me? Rich at heart, but at the same time, you can't show no mercy. From my understanding, that's how I was brought up in my broken home. My first option was to catch a play. You dig me?
Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was not only the best-selling artist of his time, but he's also widely hailed as the greatest performer in music history. While his fame was staggering, so was his isolation. Abuse from his father and relentless media scrutiny drove him to distance himself from those closest to him, and his increasingly eccentric behavior made him the target of the media for decades. So when Michael Jackson died, the world didn't know what to think of him. But there was one person who knew him better than anyone else.
Hello, Brooke. I hope I get to see you soon. Goodbye.
I met him when I was 13.
The 53rd Annual Academy Awards.
I went to the Academy Awards with Diana Ross. This girl walked up to me and said, "Hi, I'm Brooke Shields."
Brooke Shields, she's currently one of the hottest commodities in the world.
And she goes, "Are you going to the after party?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Good, I'll see you at the park." Oh my God! She knows she's all over my room.
How do you feel about all this fuss that's being made over you?
I think it's kind of fun.
Michael and Brooke fell head over heels for one another.
Could you reach him like other Earthlings couldn't?
She'll come over, I'll go to her house.
It was such a huge topic of conversation.
How do you recognize him between dates?
How big is Michael Jackson's willy?
Did you propose to her?
He gave me the most beautiful ring.
Michael felt he'd found the love of his life. But there was someone close to him who hated Brooke more than anyone else.
You'll never really hear me say anything bad about anybody except for that man. He's not a human being. He's the devil.
Here is a man, steel worker. Where are you, Joe? Right here. I'll tell you, 9 kids. Look at this. Is there anybody around who wouldn't want grandchildren to behave like this? I'm telling you, here is a drug-free family.
While Joe Jackson was being praised for how he raised his kids, his son Michael was missing.
I just wanted to know, where's Michael today?
Jeremy, probably working.
In their time, when they were coming up as kids, there was a lot of bad things happening around.
Gary's unemployment rate reached 48%. The victims of crime wheeled in every day of the week.
I had to know what was going on, keep them out of trouble.
Joe felt that the best thing for his family was turning them into a band that he managed.
I had a whole group. They came along Michael.
My mother caught me making my bed one day and I was singing. She forced him to listen to me, and once he listened to me, from that moment on, I was the lead singer of the group.
It was huge. This mega hit of a family that he brought up.
All these up here is the Jackson family. We sold over 60 million records.
I just want to commend you on your wonderful family.
Talented and together.
Without a doubt, one of the most popular singing groups in the entire world today.
And soon, a superstar was unveiled to the world.
Hey, Michael. Was I ready? 9 or 10? I forgot.
9.
It comes so easy for him. Melody, song, dance.
Is it easy for you?
Dancing like Michael Jackson, no, it's a nightmare for me.
But as the Jackson 5 became one of the biggest bands in the world, people gradually saw that something was wrong with Michael.
Michael, how would you say the audience reacts in most cases?
Your son Michael said in a recent interview that he was frightened of you.
Do you think your father was too strict? Yes. No, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna get you still worried about that. Well, he feels that he was strict. I'm glad he said it. Now I'll say it, yes. Did he?
Suddenly, the world saw a different side to Joe.
Didn't he once say that you were physically, emotionally abusive to him?
I've never been abusive to him.
If he hit me, I would hit him back, but I would really get it.
Yeah, many people say you can't hit a child.
There's no such thing as beating a kid.
Is he predominantly a good man, do you think?
I think my father means well.
Most of Michael's family sided with Joe.
Child abuser. That's not true.
He did what was necessary.
9 kids drug-free, and we became something.
But as he distanced himself from his family, Michael transformed as well.
The way you look, where does it come from?
Oh, God. Yeah. It's pretty embarrassing. He used to tease me real bad about it.
It's cruel, isn't it?
Yeah, it used to hurt me. I don't think he realized how much he was hurting me.
What sort of thing did he say?
He would tease me about how I looked, and he would say, well, you didn't get it from my side of the family. People don't stop to think what they're saying sometimes, and the effect it can have on a person, you know. He used me as the example. It was like, do it like Michael. You know, and he practiced us with a belt in his hand. And if you miss a step, expect to be, the others were very nervous, and I was nervous too, you know, because he was tough.
How often would he beat you?
Too much.
Would he only use a belt?
Why do you do this to me? No, more than a belt.
He would make you strip nude first. Your whole ritual, he would oil you down. So when the foot of the ironing cord hit you, it would just, you know, use your foot all over your face, your back, everywhere. And I always hear my mother back, no, Joe, you're going to kill him, you're going to kill him, no. I would just give up, like there was nothing I can do, you know.
Without his family around him, Michael had become completely isolated.
That's probably why I had the mannequin, because I felt I needed people. I needed someone.
And this is the little girl behind all those faces, Brooke Shields. And this is the face behind the face of Brooke Shields, Terry Shields, manager and mother.
Why do you love her so much? Why do you love your mother?
Well, because it's just been both of us, you know what I mean? It's just been myself, just the two of us.
There's nobody else as well.
Long before Michael came into the picture, Terry was a poor single mother with a dream.
The day I brought her home from the hospital, I just knew she'd be a star. A star.
Our plan was, we got that job.
My dress is much softer now.
We can get a car. Oh, we get this job. We don't have to live in our little apartment anymore.
You really are an exquisite-looking young lady.
Soon, Brooke was thrown into the world of adults.
I think Brooke's like a work of art, and like any beautiful painting. I think the world should enjoy Brooke and view her.
I could never understand how a mother would allow her daughter to play such a role.
A prostitute. Was that a big decision for you?
No, it wasn't at all. It was a very difficult role, and I don't think any other child could have played it as well as Brooke.
I wanted to make everybody happy with the job that I was doing.
How old is she?
Do you want to put me in jail?
We had a first kiss scene. I had never kissed anybody before. I felt, oh my God, I'm supposed to know how to do this, but I don't know how to do this. Every time Keith tried to do the kiss, I would scrunch my face up. And Louis got upset with me. Don't do that with your face, don't. What's this? Ooh. And then Keith was the one who asked to just have a word with me and said to me, hey, he said, you know what? This doesn't count. It's pretend. This is all make-believe.
While Brooke was experiencing her first kiss, her mother Terry was out drinking. Terry's secret would soon become Brooke's secret as well.
Let me ask you, Brooke, here's a hard question about your mother. And it's described in this magazine as a broad, open-faced woman with manners to match. Her face bears the marks of the heavy drinker, the rough skin. Is that a fair description of your mother as you know her?
I don't think so.
I said all the things that I had sort of rehearsed in my head.
She has terrible allergies. That's what causes her skin to be the way it is. And she is outspoken and she says what she feels. She's my mama.
Brooke and her mother were a team. But when Brooke turned 16, she started seeing how bad things had gotten.
We went to court. I was on the stand for 2 days straight.
Trying to block the distribution of nude photos.
Terry had approved a photo shoot that would haunt Brooke for the rest of her life.
If we know that she's a whore, we know how to talk to her.
State Supreme Court Justice Edward Greenfield told the 16-year-old actress she can't have it both ways. She cannot appear in suggestive movies. And commercials and preserve the image of an innocent teenager.
The Court of Appeals ruled today that a photographer may publish nude pictures of Brooke Shields, photos that he took of the model when she was only 10 years old.
How do you feel about that?
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm confused, you know, just like everybody else is, I think, now. I don't know. Things happen for the best, I guess.
Brooke was feeling trapped with her mother. But with Michael, she found freedom she'd never had.
we love each other more now than we even did when we were younger.
The world was going back and forth on whether or not Brooke was dating Michael Jackson or not dating.
The fame eventually got out of hand.
I go around the world dealing with running and hiding. I can't take a walk in the park. I can't go to the store. I have to hide in a room. You feel like you're in prison.
When you think of Michael Jackson, you don't first think, what a great artist. You think, what a weird guy.
Michael Jackson's been overhauled more than the Statue of Liberty.
Many people had issues with Michael being white.
Bleaching your skin. Is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Michael. Michael forgot he was a
while others had issues with him being black.
Wacko Jacko. Where'd that come from?
The term jacko was Cockney slang to refer to monkeys in general.
You should not say he's an animal. It's not nice.
Soon, Brooke found herself defending Michael as well.
Do they upset you? Make you angry?
They upset me constantly.
Michael. He spent his whole life trying to be a white woman, his whole life.
In order to augment their own self-worth, they feel that they have to belittle him.
I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that. Don't do it.
Headlines which paint him as a weird recluse.
Crazy stories.
Most people don't sleep in an oxygen chamber.
Making you out to be not normal. What is normal?
To be a friend of Michael's, one must steel oneself for an intense media onslaught.
You're just so alienated from the rest of humanity.
Unlike most people, Brooke saw Michael as a human being. But she would soon have to decide how big a part of his life she wanted to be.
The sales clerk at Zales noticed a suspicious character who seemed to be wearing a disguise.
It must have been pretty funny out there having Michael Jackson.
It was funny, but it was also a little bit frightening.
Jackson was in a Zales jewelry store pricing rings.
Does that ring belong on your finger or in a Coca-Cola? That is the largest piece of ice I have ever seen.
This got me into so much trouble. This is a gift from a friend, a very, very close friend of mine that I've known for almost all my life. And I'm not engaged. I wasn't engaged.
But how much money does a ring like that cost? Just the ballpark.
I didn't ask him. I'm not going to have a question.
Okay, this is what I'm getting to. Do you have someone in your life you would give something like that to unless y'all was going to get married or something?
Well, good question. It's something that's nice that I now own that is from a very good friend. And it's not marriage. And I said to him, I said, what does this mean? Are you asking me a question that I should be answering? And he said, no, I just want you to look at it. And every time you see it sparkle, just know how much I love you.
Oh,
and
damn, that was nice.
Good, huh?
That was nice, yeah.
Very good.
But Brooke had misunderstood Michael.
Why is Peter Pan a figure of such interest and inspiration to you?
Because Peter Pan, he represents youth, childhood, never growing up, magic.
You don't want to grow up?
No, I am Peter Pan.
He couldn't believe I was going to go away to college by myself. He just didn't get it. He was like, you can't do that. And I said, I've got a chance. I said, I've been going out in the world. I'm not so isolated. And I want this chance. I want a chance to be quote unquote normal, and he never really could trust a lot of people around him.
To disappear is very important. I would like to some kind of way disappear where people don't see me anymore at some point and just do my things for children.
He said we should adopt a child. We should adopt a child and raise a child together.
God knows in my heart how much I adore children. I used to walk around holding baby dolls.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted children so badly.
Nobody should do anything that they don't feel comfortable about doing.
This fall you go to college, Brooke.
Yes, I do.
You looking forward to that?
Very much so.
Back to school, did you see the picture of Brooke Shields? She is doing very well in her classes. As a matter of fact, her biology professor gave her an A in anatomy. Hers.
College was supposed to be Brooke's way of taking charge of her life, but it wasn't what she expected.
The campus is all accessible. You could find me. People were bribing students to sneak pictures of me in the shower.
Meanwhile, Michael did what he could to appease his loneliness.
A good friend of mine had them close the whole shopping mall. We had people in there that I knew pretending as if they were shopping, so it felt like, you know, it was a real environment. I can't go out and walk down the street, so I create my world behind my gates. I've never lost a water balloon fight. I'm the Michael Jordan of water balloon fighting.
This is the dude. Yay.
We won the fight again and again.
While Michael eventually made friends, Brooke made a friend of her own.
Is there anybody special in Brooke Shields' life at the moment?
Actually, there is, and he's with me today.
Well, that's great. I mean, is he real special?
He's real special,
Is he right over there?
Yeah, come here. Just say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Well, why don't you introduce him?
His name's Dean Kane.
Dean and Brooke were Mr. and Miss Perfect.
So you're developing shows and you're writing and you're acting and you're in People's 50th Most Beautiful and you're annoying. You're annoying me now. You're the guy that my mom says, why can't you be more like that guy?
Brooke says she wants to remain a virgin until she finds someone she loves.
You know, he was the first person I trusted with all of it. When we finally had sex, I immediately ran out of the room, ran down the hall, butt naked, running. I didn't know where I was going. And he ran after me with the duvet and grabbed a hold of me and said, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving you. You're the same person." He got it instantly, and I just cried.
One day, I was in my house, and the phone rang, and I picked up the phone. "Hello." And he said, "Hi, Oprah, this is Michael." I put down the phone. I ran in the other room where the executive producer, Debbie, was. She was over my house, and I went, "Debbie! Debbie! Michael Jackson's on the phone!"
Michael Jackson's first interview in 14 years.
Wednesday, the king of pop breaks his silence.
How nervous are you right now?
I'm not nervous at all, actually.
Well, we would like to know whether or not there is a possibility that you are going to marry one day and have children.
I would feel that my life isn't complete if I do not. But I couldn't right now because I'm married to my work.
Michael, I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to. Ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
You're a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman.
Do you go out? Do you date?
Yes.
Who do you date?
Well, right now it's Brooke Shields. Well, we try not to just be everywhere and go everywhere.
I called him and I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm actually currently with a boyfriend in New York City. What are you doing?"
She'll come over, I'll go to her house, because I don't like going out in the public.
I eventually sort of lost touch with him.
Though Brooke felt betrayed by Michael, it wouldn't be the last time she was pulled into his life.
Fire paramedic 33, what is your emergency?
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help and he's not breathing yet.
I heard they couldn't revive him. I don't know who to believe or who to trust right now.
It's the day the music died.
When confirmation came, fans swarmed to the hospital to mourn their hero, but also to celebrate his life.
If you were in Michael's life, would he still be alive today?
Of course.
Why'd you decide to show up here tonight? Is it to pay tribute to your son, to make
sure? Yeah, to show pictures of my son. Yeah, Michael. But I want to make this statement. Marshall. And we owned a record company called Ranch Records.
Joe Jackson is organizing events following his son's death, raising money not for one of his son's beloved children's charities, but to build a museum and possibly a casino.
This is an opulent funeral service. I believe that's a Phantom. That has to be a $500,000 car.
Many celebrities will be in attendance, but also of note, who we won't see.
I really thought, oh, this is going to be a cartoon. I never liked the dad never liked me. I'm not going to be invited.
Intriguing way of handling it, but I think he's got the marching orders on what they want him to say.
Joe Jackson, we thank you.
Without Joe Jackson, there would be no Michael Jackson.
We know it was your dream too.
But not everything went according to Joe's plan.
I think approaching this microphone is Brooke Shields.
It was his mom who called me and said, I want you to speak.
Shield said the Jackson family had written me out something, but I just had to do my own thing.
Brooke hadn't been seen with Michael for over a decade, and it wasn't clear if she had forgiven him. Many believed that Brooke had started seeing Michael as the monster he was portrayed as.
Michael.
He's a predator.
He's the worst kind of filth.
But no one was more worried about what Brooke was going to say than Joe.
You just look in his eyes and it's just, he's the devil. I don't know what possessed me. I went over to him and I said, you know what? You never liked me. I never liked you. You always were mean. And he was like, why are you like that, Brooke? What are you doing? And I said, no. I'm going to thank you for your son. Because your son changed the world and was my friend.
Michael was one of a kind. Whenever we were out together and there would be a picture taken, the caption usually said something like an odd couple. To us, it was the most natural and easiest of friendships. Yes, it may have seemed very odd to the outside, but when we were together, we were two little kids having fun. Seeing him smile made you feel like everything was going to be all right. Today, although our hearts are aching, we need to look up and we need to smile.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was not only the best-selling artist of his time, but he's also widely hailed as the greatest performer in music history. While his fame was staggering, so was his isolation. Abuse from his father and
September 17th, 2024, the music producer, executive, and billionaire entertainer Sean Diddy Combs took a walk through New York City. It was a long walk. Throughout the day, he took selfies with fans in Midtown, spent a few hours with his kids, sat by the reservoir in Central Park to take in the sun, and even went to visit Harlem, the neighborhood he grew up in as a kid. It's a strange thing for a celebrity to do, just wandering the streets for hours. But Diddy wasn't just enjoying a relaxing weekend in the city. He was savoring what would most likely be the last hours of his life as a free man.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul.
Because Diddy had been under investigation by the Department of Homeland Security since the beginning of the year, starting with raids on 2 of his homes in March.
Sean Combs' luxury mansions across the country raided by Homeland Security agents, and 2 of his kids put in handcuffs for a brief time.
Stemming from a civil suit filed by his ex-girlfriend who accused him of systematic abuse and control for over 10 years, the feds took 6 months to build up enough of a case, then put him in jail and denied him bail completely, leaving him stuck behind bars at least until his trial begins in May of 2025. In many cases, this would be the place to say that the charges came out of nowhere, or that there was some kind of conspiracy underway to bring someone down. But with Diddy, unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case at all. While nothing had ever been confirmed until now, rumors about Diddy had been going around for years.
The Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
People had been telling stories about his ruthless, intimidating business tactics, egotistical personality.
I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Financial mistreatment of artists, and bizarre public relationships since the 2000s. But whispers don't carry a lot of weight, and Diddy's business career continued on uninterrupted. He even became one of hip-hop's first billionaires in 2022, just a year before the allegation that would lead to his arrest was published. And now, with countless detailed and believable lawsuits flying in, the magnitude of Diddy's evil just got bigger and bigger, to the point where he no longer looks like a music executive with a dark secret, but a full-on psychopath who built the facade of an empire to cover up his pathological evil, from assault to threats of killing and even bombings against his rivals. And the questions ask themselves, what kind of a monster do you have to be to end up so evil? How many people turned a blind eye and allowed him to do what he was doing while he offered gifts, connections, and donations, building up a persona as a glamorous member of the Hollywood elite over many years while he essentially tortured people behind the scenes? And who else is out there masking their evil behind smiles and luxury? Not monsters in the shadows, but instead evil, despicable people standing in the spotlight. But most of all, how is a person like this created? Who is Diddy, and how did he end up as one of the most evil public figures in modern history? On a dark, freezing night in January of 1972, a man named Melvin Combs, a 33-year-old retired military veteran from New York City, sat silently in his parked car. He was parked along Central Park West, a wide avenue in Manhattan that separates the greenery and peaceful quiet of Central Park from the gorgeous, affluent Upper West Side. At least, that's what it is today. But New York in 1972 was a very different place. The local economy was struggling, unemployment was higher than ever, and people and businesses were leaving the area as quickly as they could. New York at the time was dirty, dark, and falling apart. Melvin Combs himself lived in Harlem, where a widespread increase in arson, violent crime, and drug use had turned Harlem, a previously vibrant neighborhood, into a grim, shadowy underworld. Melvin returned from his service in the military at a time when benefits for veterans were practically non-existent, and living in Harlem, it was very difficult for him to make ends meet without dealing drugs. But he was good at that. Eventually, he even formed ties with Frank Lucas, the infamous New York drug lord whose life was later turned into a Hollywood movie. But on that night, as Melvin sat in the car, engine running in the cold darkness, a figure came out of the shadows and shot him dead. His killer was never found. Most murderers weren't in those days. Most people figured it wasn't a random accident. When Melvin had been arrested for trafficking drugs 2 years earlier, several of his associates had been raided and imprisoned shortly after. It led to a rumor that he had become an informant in exchange for immunity, because he was never arrested again. Detectives believed the 1972 murder of Melvin Combs might ultimately be traced to members of a heroin distributing conspiracy. In 1971, a heroin cutting mill and a conspirator's home were raided, shortly after Combs had been arrested for possession of heroin and $45,000 in cash. Essentially, it was entirely possible that there was a bounty on his head for selling his own people up the river, although nothing was ever proven for sure. Either way, what Melvin left behind on the day he died wasn't just a life of crime or a drug trafficking empire. He was a dedicated family man, married to a part-time model and a teacher named Janice, and together they had 2 young kids, a 1-year-old girl named Keisha and a 3-year-old son named Sean, both of whom would now be forced to live without the strong, grounding influence of a father in their life. After losing her husband, Janice Combs realized how much more difficult it would be to raise her kids in a healthy, caring way without a father, especially for their son Sean. She cared a lot about making sure that Sean didn't end up going down the same path as his dad, becoming a drug dealer, living the street life, or even worse. Doing whatever she could to protect him. For starters, she wouldn't tell him what happened to his father. Throughout his childhood, she told Sean that his dad was killed in a car accident, a cover-up that he wouldn't discover the truth behind for almost 2 decades. She then took on the massive financial burden to move them out of New York City. They went to the neighboring city of Mount Vernon, which, while not a lot safer or nicer than the dirty underworld of New York that had taken her husband's life, it was at least sort of a fresh start. Being a widow raising 2 kids by herself, Janice had to work 3 jobs at the same time to pay the bills, and they were still in poverty. A lot of the time she was so busy that she had no choice but to send the kids to stay with her sister, who lived in the Patterson housing projects in the South Bronx, in the same type of environment she fought so hard to get them out of to begin with. And it was there that a young Sean Combs experienced what he would say later became the exact source of his lifelong ambition. Being a kid in the South Bronx during the late 70s was not ideal. At the time, the South Bronx was widely considered one of the most underprivileged places in the US, with conditions so bad that even the president visited to draw attention to the struggles New Yorkers were facing. Diddy said this: "One day we woke up and there were 15 roaches on my face, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna be somebody. I'm gonna own something and be able to take care of my family. I don't want to live in these conditions anymore." And while that particular quote turned into more of a meme than anything, with Diddy only telling it once he had become a billionaire many years later, it's not unbelievable considering what the Bronx was really like at the time. He also said this: "It just kind of snapped on me. Don't take less in life and always fight back. To this day, whenever I get too comfortable, I remember the roaches. I remember living in a situation where babies weren't changed for 2 or 3 days and everything smelled and there was no food. That memory is what really fuels me to make sure that one day none of us have to live like that." Luckily for Sean Combs, as he grew up in the gritty, decaying streets of New York, the biggest deciding factor in the direction of his life was his mom's dedication to raising him right. Janice Combs raised her kids Catholic, getting them involved in the local community and putting them on the track towards education and discipline, making sure that Sean stayed away from the choices and lifestyle that killed his dad. They regularly went to church, and Sean even worked as an altar boy when he was a kid. Janice was even able to get Sean into a private school, Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic institution in Mount Vernon with numerous educational awards to its name. But despite her best intentions to protect her son from the evils of the drug trafficking and gang violence that killed her husband, there was an entirely different type of evil lurking beneath the surface at Sean's school, the very same place his mother had sent him so he would be safe. This is the first installment in my documentary series examining the history, the crime, and the nature of Sean Diddy Combs. I spent the last couple of weeks reading books and articles diving into his past, and I think it's the best thing I've ever made, even though it is pretty dark and disturbing. The next part is even worse, covering the lawsuits, the details, the connections of Diddy, and what his fate will probably be. I'm currently working on a kind of cut down version to put on YouTube in a few weeks, but if you want to see the full uncensored director's cut, it's going to be available first on Nebula soon. Nebula is an independent streaming service I helped create that's home to countless excellent creators, and it's a really unique platform. You can watch a ton of exclusive originals on there right now, like my documentary Danger Music, where I dive deep into the dark side of music history, covering some of the craziest, most dangerous artists that ever lived. Anyway, Nebula helps me make insane videos like this, and you can get it for just $6 a month or $36 a year, with a portion of that going to help the support of production of more videos on this channel. That's nebula.tv to sign up and be the first to see the next Diddy documentary or watch my Nebula original Danger Music right now. Because in 1988, just 1 year after Diddy graduated from Mount St. Michael Academy, the principal and chaplain of the school were both indicted for sexual abuse. In a case prepared by the NYPD and the FBI, they determined that at least 3 14-year-old boys had been molested. Timothy Brady, the school's principal, was sentenced to prison, although he was never removed from his position in the Catholic Brotherhood that operated the school. And despite the overwhelming evidence against the school officials, with charges being brought by the literal FBI, only one student was willing to speak out publicly, and so no trial was ever held. The principal, Timothy Brady, later moved to Chicago and worked at a different Catholic school for boys over there. While there isn't a directly known link between the traumatic predatory events at Mount St. Michael Academy and Sean Combs himself, sexual abuse by Catholic priests is a known, widespread issue that casts a long shadow over the reputation of the church, even though studies and information are limited, with many Catholic brotherhoods refusing to grant transparency to outsiders. But we know from extensive research that there's a cycle of sexual abuse, positive correlation between being a victim and later becoming a perpetrator. In many ways, our childhoods shape our adulthoods, and with Diddy attending a school that was later found to have abusers at the top of its leadership and being an altar boy for many years, the monstrous, evil choices and behaviors that later defined his life could be a hint at a dark, unresolved trauma from his past. With countless stories coming out later about Diddy forcing young boys to undress in front of him, admitting to sleeping in bed with Usher, having a bizarre relationship with Justin Bieber, lawsuits that allege he sexually forced himself on men as a form of domination. There are even videos of him being physically intimate with Biggie Smalls. Not to mention the fact that people have been talking about this in radio interviews and podcasts for years. That behavior isn't Diddy being gay. That's a guy doing what he knows, repeating what was done to him. That type of behavior most often doesn't come out of nowhere. As soon as he finished high school, the Combs family was overjoyed when Sean was accepted into Howard University as a business major. But still, being at university was never his top priority. And during his first year at Howard, he leveraged connections from back home to secure an unpaid internship at Uptown Records, a New York-based record label that at the time was one of the fastest growing in all of R&B and hip-hop. Around this time, Diddy, then going by the name Puffy, gained a reputation as a fiercely ambitious industry player willing to do whatever it took to advance his career. He had a natural talent for networking, and many of his opportunities arose from his ability to forge connections with influential people easily. His internship at Uptown Records, for instance, came through a friendship with a New York rapper he met at a party that he hosted as a teenager. He started commuting between Howard University in DC and Uptown Records in New York so he could pursue both opportunities at the same time. He was tasked with helping develop the label's newly signed artists like Jodeci, Father MC, and Mary J. Blige. As an intern, his main responsibilities would be things like driving Mary J. Blige from her apartment to recording sessions in Manhattan or organizing events for artists on the label. But it was quickly discovered that he had far more useful talents than running a guest list or driving an artist to the studio. The company quickly realized that he had such an ear for production, trend-making, curation, and relationships that he became an essential part of their operations practically overnight. Because the first record that Diddy ever produced ended up being a massive hit, but he wasn't even meant to be the producer.
Gunshots, gunshots, gunshots. This one's about Cat Williams is right. You let me know if Cat Williams is right. This is all that he predicted for 2024 when he said what was in the dark will come to the light. This is 2024. Now, they say they have unseen Prince, unalivened footage, which exposes Diddy and Jay-Z. Let's listen to this. This is what they say it allegedly do. All right, that they allegedly exposed Diddy and Jay-Z. I like this joint a lot. Let's just get to it. If you subscribe, hit the notification button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, hit the notification button, the like button, Cash App on the screen. Make sure the icon and say it was created in 2020. All right. I'm ready to ride. Keep it going, 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 keep it going. Make a what? Make a audio, make a what? Make a audio, make a what? Make a audio, make a what? Make a audio. I like the way it's going now. You know, there's Unique Mac Audio, man. Check this out. This right here, they putting Diddy and Jay-Z together, saying that he got something to do with the unalive the Prince. Y'all need to watch this. I watched this. I found it real interesting, but we're going to watch it together right now and do what we do. All right?
Of hundreds of unreleased songs. Are you ever going to release them and let us hear?
One day, someone will release them. I don't know that I'll get to release them.
Prince, the innovative, one-of-a-kind artist who's given us so much great music over the decades, has been found dead.
Was this a tragic accident, or are there darker reasons for his mysterious death?
You know what the elevator is, right? No. I said, no, what's the elevator? He said, well, the elevator is the devil. For me, it was like really haunting when I read that he was found in an elevator.
It appears Cat Williams was right all along. Shocking, unseen footage of Prince's Mdeer has surfaced, and it's pointing straight at Jay-Z and Diddy.
I understand what it's worth doing when the industry is canceling one black guy. I know what happens when they are going to elevate another.
With Cat's warnings now impossible to ignore, it would be safe to say that Hollywood just got a whole lot darker. And this new evidence has people questioning everything we thought we knew.
Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
And to think it isn't just Diddy who got roped into this mess this time. High best pal Jay-Z might be going down too. Could two of the biggest names in the industry really be involved in such a sinister plot? What were they hiding, and why is this footage just now coming to light? The truth is, Cat Williams knew a lot from the start, but only recently has he decided to open this plethora of secrets.
All right, so this is the way I see it, right? From what I'm comprehending for this from a street point of view. Check this out, right? This is how I see it. Now, they got Diddy for, the freak-off joints, right? We already know Prince was the original freak-off man. If you don't know, you're too young. Prince was the first that ever done it. You know what I mean? Do you think maybe Prince had freak-off tapes with Jay-Z and Diddy? And that's why they unalived them, is what they're trying to get at with this. So I'm just breaking it down so you understand. They reported it. I'm just translating it. They're saying that Prince is the original freak-off man, and Prince had some tapes of Jay-Z and Diddy, and that's why they unalived them and found them in the elevator, allegedly. I don't believe none of that crap, but I'm just translating what they're saying. Let's just get this right. So that's my disclaimer. I'm just reporting on the scene. and translating what's going on the screen.
I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it.
According to Cat Williams' shocking interview on Club Shay Shay, Prince supposedly had damaging footage of both Jay-Z and Diddy that could have destroyed their careers.
Now, if anybody know, Prince was the original freak man back in the 90s.
While nothing has been confirmed, many fans point to Prince's mysterious final days as evidence that someone wanted to silence him. And why wouldn't they think that? Just weeks before his death, Prince posted a cryptic message on social media that now seems like a chilling premonition, just when you thought you were safe. At the time, many fans dismissed it as typical Prince mystique, but in light of recent revelations, this message takes on a much darker significance. After regaining control of his master recordings from Warner Bros. In 2014, Prince had achieved a hard-won victory. Yet exactly 2 years later, he would be found dead at Paisley Park.
Well, this is certainly the sort of news that you don't want to believe is true, but Prince has died at the age of 57 years old.
In those final years, Prince's behavior shifted dramatically. He implemented strict new security protocols at Paisley Park and became intensely selective about his inner circle. But did any of it help? No.
That also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
His concerns extended beyond personal safety. In his final weeks, Prince had serious conversations with close associates about what he perceived as dangerous elements within the music industry. He spoke candidly about powerful figures and the consequences of challenging them. His particular focus was on controversial industry practices, including exclusive parties where young artists felt pressured to attend to advance their careers.
Did you hear that? He threw parties that young artists felt pressured to attend to further their careers. And then now they're saying that Diddy and Jay-Z allegedly was in some pictures or tapes or whatever, because they didn't have a lot of footage, but Prince had the bag. Paisley Park, if you don't know, used to throw some of the most elaborate parties. You know, also had a club inside Paisley Park. Sit back and pay attention. All right, just giving you the translation.
A crucial development emerged in Prince's relationship with Jay-Z. What began as a professional partnership deteriorated significantly in the months before Prince's death, leading to tensions over his music catalog, the very thing he had fought so long to protect.
And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise.
These circumstances raise essential questions.
What he's saying, he's created this music, he made this music, and the companies wanted to own his masters. He didn't want them to own it. He felt like he should have owned it because he worked for them. They're supposed to be just distributing it the same way Cat Williams said that street.
That contraband, man. Strictly for the treasure, you dig what I'm saying? I turn nothing in the sun. Count them bands, you hear me? Cause we really had to suffer to survive. You know, all types of shit. Trap, jail, music, bitches, beef. Feel me? And I'm strong, like I'm the heartbeat. Without me, ain't no survival. Like the trenches can't breathe. Where I'm from. So I figure I gotta take action before a nigga take me out. You know, it's a dirty game, you hear me? Rich at heart, but at the same time, you can't show no mercy. From my understanding, that's how I was brought up in my broken home. My first option was to catch a play. You dig me?